You're watching the 420 Pace Network, found at 420radio.ca and paceradio.net.
I'm already into the 420, damn it!
So what are you doing? Nothing? Why not?
Trying to get on this Lifestyle Radio website.
Sounds like a cool website.
Yeah, it's alright. Oh, wait, I might have it.
You might have it.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
The opinions expressed during this show are those of the individual participants and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of their associated organizations or Lifestyle Radio.
You like music, you like weed, well, we gonna be good friends indeed. This is not much I like more than smoking trees. They'll make you dance the do-si-do and teach you how the chiba grows. Smoke a bowl on the 420 radio show. On Lifestyle Radio.
Hi, how are you?
How high are ya?
Lenny's got his puppy.
Morning.
Let's see.
No, this is a bum.
Okay, sorry. You can't stick a puppy in my face at the beginning of a show, Len. I'm sorry. Anyways.
Puppies.
Yeah.
Yes. Good morning, Ken.
Good morning, Ken. Hi, how are you?
G'day.
So we're gonna,
G'day, eh?
we're going to be chatting with Ken Tovich from not FlomaX, FloraMax.
Totally different products.
Yes, we were
Yes,
just
completely
discussing
different.
Ken's here to chat with the guys about, grow stuff. And I know nothing about it, so I'm going to let them do. And Mary Jane's going to move her microphone.
Right.
And,
I'm just going to watch the NHL playoffs.
Okay. And we'd like
Nice.
we'd like some updates on that, though, Len.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's going to watch the Leafs lose.
Oh, really?
I think they do lose tonight, to be honest.
I don't play hockey or anything, so I don't care. Anyways, we're chatting with Ken. Hi, Ken. How are you? I'm going to let Marcel and Darcy and them. Don't do that, Lenny. You just really screwed me up, man. Okay, I'm putting Ken on. Go ahead, Marcel, because I'm just babbling at this point because you're not kicking in. Wake up.
Pardon me? Kicking in for what? Don't look at me. I'm here just listening to Ken. Ken and I were chatting a few weeks back, and Ken said that he would like to come on and talk about organic growing of cannabis. And I, of course, got excited and said, yes, let's do this.
And then he canceled on us.
And then he COVIDed out on us and screwed up flights, and then he had to change, so we got him now.
Are you back in Aussie world, Ken?
I am. Yeah. So so first, it's great to be back on the show. Thanks for the invitation, guys, and I'm sorry for piking that first time due to circumstances beyond my control. And Mary Jane, good to meet you. We haven't met before. I would have introduced myself, but you're getting a cup of tea. So anyway.
Hello.
Okay. And so Marcel, we got dangerously close to actually meeting in person.
Yes.
Because and I was able to meet some of the other fine participants on this excellent vehicle for communication and discussion of all things cannabis. But I'm coming off. I was over in North America for probably 11 weeks on a marketing trip for FloraMax because we have been sort of restricted for travel, locked down for 2 years with COVID, so having to make up for some ground. So it was a good opportunity to get out and actually meet just 2 years out of the North American game. But obviously with legalization in Canada and the US, the industry has moved ahead there, I would say, in terms of growing practices from what I'm seeing in other countries. So in that time, in the 2 months, there was a couple of things that really struck me, and that prompted the comment to you, Marcel, about sort of organic growing. So that's sort of how it's all happened. And that, just to make excuses, I did catch COVID that first time and got stuck in transit, so was unable to attend the show. the first time that I committed. So
I didn't know that you actually had COVID. I thought he was joking around. Sorry.
Yeah, okay. So I'm just full of shit, right?
So yeah. Anyway, so there being a bit of pressure on me now. Feel free to jump in, interject with questions and stuff. But do you just want me to ramble on about what I've been hearing regarding sort of that trend?
Do what you do.
Okay. Well, I'll just. Okay. Feel free to interrupt anyone. But so the first thing, sort of for our business, one thing that we've noticed, and actually the whole industry has noticed in North America, is probably with COVID, there was a big increase in growing the first year of COVID, and then which of course led to the second year to an oversupply. I'm not sure if that situation is. I think that situation is sort of developed in Canada as well, but certainly in the U.S., the price of pounds has come right down. Wholesale price. I'm not sure what happens at the dispensary, but there's just a whole lot of product out there. So in that, I hosted a breakfast for a group of commercial growers in San Jose, and they were all sort of laughing. If you're growing average product right now, you probably need to sit this one out. You need to take the family, go on holiday or something like that. But because it's very difficult to get rid of your crop if it's simply average. And it's interesting because that, in a way, has been good for the industry because it's forced a flight to quality. Because it's kind of like in a world of 10-cent Coors Light, if your fancy microbrew is 20 cents, you just pay an extra 10 cents and get the good stuff because it's still only 20 cents. So that's sort of seeing that in dispensaries and the legal markets in the U.S. Product has just become quite inexpensive, and the quality has gone way up. So if you're growing good product like AAA Fire, you're gonna have a good chance at still making a living cultivating. But a lot of the average stuff is just sort of sitting there, and that it's created a problem there. So anyway, how does that relate to organic growing? Well, organics are increasingly being seen, and I would say I do like these unofficial polls in terms of when I meet with commercial growers in terms of what they're trying to achieve or whether they see the direction with their cultivation in the coming months, coming years, that kind of thing. And overwhelmingly, and I would say by overwhelmingly over 90%, are trying to find ways to incorporate at different levels various organic means to increase the quality of their crop. So that was quite interesting to me. It does happen to, while I make a shameless plug for the company, it does happen to play into FloraMax because we are a biosynthetic line with some very organic elements in some of our additives. Yeah, that's sort of how that thinking has evolved.
We're seeing a lot more in Canada here because of the home growing. We're seeing a lot more home growers wanting to go all full organic type thing for what they have at home, which is great. But it's a bit of a learning curve and it's hard to do with cannabis, in all honesty, to go full organic. I mean, yeah, you can do it, but there'll be deficiencies. You could do better.
Yeah, so this is an interesting thing, and I mean, I'll put this out to the peanut gallery here in terms of what constitutes a definition of organic growing. So, because the term has become fairly nebulous, I think everyone has a picture in their mind of what constitutes organic growing, and it usually involves some kind of animal fecal products, like be that bat shit, seagull shit, fish shit, you name the animal.
Actually, what I pictured was a pot plant sitting in a pile of old cow manure.
Again, an animal fecal product. Yeah, so I don't know if anybody wants to weigh in on sort of what
happened.
I think he froze a bit. We lost you. You're not frozen now.
If you start freezing, if you do start freezing again, Ken, just drop into your settings and move your camera resolution down to, standard or something. Yeah, that will help.
Yeah.
We found that out last week at the trailer.
Okay.
Well,
Sorry, you were saying you would like
I'm
us
not
to
a
weigh
grower,
in?
but to me, anything definition of organic is carbon based. That's from
Okay.
my
That's
chemistry days. That's
so,
just
yeah,
me from
yeah. So,
chemistry in college.
Yeah.
yeah, right. So, from a chemistry standpoint, it would be pretty much that anything with a carbon hydrogen bond. Right?
Yeah, that
So,
again, I don't know if that's what everyone's really talking about, but that's what to me is. And most inorganic things are more like your just basic elements, things like calcium, magnesium, phosphorus, things like that.
yeah. So, maybe a way of defining it actually is what isn't organic. So, and then Lenny, I think you're on the right track there with basically anything like mineral based, basically anything mineral based without that carbon hydrogen bond.
Yeah.
So, how that organic product looks can be an animal fecal product because they will all sort of contain that kind of or meet that definition chemically. But so I guess if you're taking what a lot of people could soil amendments, manure and soil, that kind of thing, or teas and bacteria and stuff like that. All that stuff, there's such a wide range of growing styles there in terms of how that's incorporated, but they all have that carbon hydrogen bond in there. So the opposite of what it isn't would be of what organic growing isn't, then would be the mineral-based side. And I think I've said this before, and you guys might know, sort of know my opinion on this, but in terms of why growers need to sort of consider everything. So there is definitely a shift towards organic growing, but I think, Marcel, you just sort of said that they may suffer deficiencies. So most certainly 100% organic product, kind of raw organic product cultivation usually results in smaller yields, sometimes excellent quality, but probably definitely the yields start to hurt. So, and that's why there probably is a strong case for some sort of mineral-based component. At the end, whether your calcium or your magnesium comes from a liquid nutrient, a powder, or whether it was just naturally present in the soil, it's still actually just a mineral-based component, and a lot of that stuff exists naturally and I guess there's various levels of fertilizers that will contain those things. So, but basically on that organic track, I think that's something that people are trying to improve that quality piece.
I also think some people take the term organic and think it's just natural. Like, I don't know if they necessarily have the same picture as everybody. That's just what I think some people think it is sometimes.
Yeah, so it's an interesting thing because we've actually done quite a lot of actually that's the angle of FloraMax, and a lot of the research that we've done sort of looks towards that organic space and why. So the advantages are can result in a more call it naturally created product is going to be probably probably a truer expression of the genetics of the plant. And of course, there's been a lot of focus in the industry there on what people can, a lot of people spending a lot of money on genetics there in an effort to look for various terpene profiles, oil contents, physical characteristics of bag appeal of the plant, like the colors and that kind of thing. So organics are a way to sort of access those things. So there's this distinction, though, that in our research that we sort of made in terms of how we defined organics. So a lot of people, when you say natural style of growing, they're probably identify with what we would call raw organics. So a raw organic is something that occurs naturally in nature, as in pretty much all animal fecal products. So but it doesn't, they don't. So I think there's a distinction here because as the industry evolves, I think what we're going to see is a move away from raw organics because there are some problems associated with it. So in our sort of product design and in sort of the way that we've developed our products, we're trying to address some problems. And the way that I'll put it this way is I see there are three key issues with organic growing. Okay, so the first one would be the shelf life of various products. When you buy a bag of manure or a bag of bat shit, bat guano, whatever it is, all the rest of that, typically those products have a very short shelf life. because they are naturally occurring and they're at a raw stage. So they're open to all sorts of issues like fermentation, which would be creation of alcohol. That's going to affect the efficacy of the product. So one is shelf life. Two is ease of use or mess, because invariably most raw organic products are seen as messy. So for someone growing at home in a garden in like a bed or something like that, just top dressing, that's not really a big deal. But if we're talking about larger scale cultivation, and this is the commercial growers that I've spoken with, they're all looking for ways they need to be able to deliver organics on a large scale. So, through drippers, reservoirs, and that kind of thing. And they're not just going to throw a raw organic into a reservoir there, because it'll take about 3 seconds for it to start clogging the lines, the cleanup on reset, that kind of thing. So that's always been an issue, large scale application of organics. So that was the second issue. And then the third one, the one that we were most concerned with, and this is probably interesting for some people from a manufacturing standpoint, is actually consistency of performance. So you can have the same product, supposedly the same product, and one bottle will work and one won't, because it's a raw organic. There's so much variability in the quality of that product. Example, like any like bat guano, that kind of thing. Well, the bat eats different things at different times of year. So when that guano is harvested, it's going to affect the composition, the phosphate contents, all the rest of it. So there's a lot of variability there. And then the other thing is just in the logistics chain, when you're trying to take a natural product and you're trying to actually make that available to growers on a larger scale, it's a real challenge, because a bottle of fish shit that's been sitting in a warehouse in Phoenix for 3 weeks at we're in Celsius at 40 degrees Celsius for 3 weeks. That will denature the organics compared to a bottle that's been sitting in a refrigerator. Susceptibility to UV is probably, from a manufacturing standpoint, one of the biggest challenges. UV just degrades organics very, very quickly. So, this thing about, even the color of your bottles as a manufacturer, we, done some research in that space. And the thing is, just putting your organic product in a black bottle to remove UV light probably buys you a year of shelf life. So, that kind of thing. So, clear bottles of organic products, typically someone hasn't done the work there. So, I mean,
is freezing affected as well, like colder weather here, because we got like cold weather here, right?
Well, I would think that there would be a difference in the performance. I don't know if it's better or worse, but the thing is, all those sorts of things, that sort of storage stuff on raw products there is going to be some kind of an effect to denature the organics. You sort of think about it, the process of like with kelps. There are a lot of kelp products on the market. We have quite a few years experience in working with that. And kelps can come in, for manufacturers, they can come in cold pressed extract, kind of like a cold pressed juice. They can also come in a heat refined form. So that heat refined form can be liquid, but more often than not is a powder or a pellet type of product. So you guys have probably seen powdered kelp products, maybe, those of you that grow on shelves and stuff like that. But all those powders and pelletized products are part of a heat refining process. And in the early days, we used to use those kind of products because there was a little bit more economy in them. But the 100% will denature, or the organic efficacy is significantly reduced when you put it through an heat extraction process. And that's just a product of like applying temperature to it. So that consistency issue. So one of the ways that we've gotten around it, and this is, I think you're going to see the trend, is towards an extracted organic product. So everyone's familiar with cannabis extractions because you're getting quite a bit more potency in certain products, especially in the case of some of the products that Marcel and Darcy.
I think we've lost Ken for a minute. He'll be back.
But I lost you.
There we go.
You just froze up there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So
maybe
sorry.
drop your video down to another notch.
I actually did. Yeah, but I may just do that every once in a while.
He sort of literally is on the other side of the world, so it's gonna happen.
I was about to say that he is on the other side of the world.
And it's winter.
Yeah. Well, this is the.
That ain't fucking winter.
Winner.
You got loud fucking birds there. That's all I got to say.
And they're not mine. Ha ha ha.
Yeah, not everything about you, Darcy.
Well, I always get blamed for the birds.
Yeah. So.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I was just going to say that. So just cut things short. Basically, there is a solution to those three three problems associated with organic growing. Okay, and that would be an extracted type of organic. So it still stays organic. We're meeting the definition with that carbon hydrogen bond. We still see the benefits of actually expressed in the plant. But the way that we're actually doing it is in the manufacturing process. We are taking a raw organic, call it a bucket of fish shit or fulvic acid, which contains thousands of organic compounds, and then extracting specific compounds that we've identified have an effect on plant function. And when you have that extract, if you can create an extract, you see increases in solubility and stability. Then when you incorporate those in your other products, you actually get you actually pick up those features. So as a shameless plug again for one of our products, we make a product called Organobud, which is there is an extracted organic underneath a kelp platform in that product. It is 100% organic, and it has a 5-year shelf life.
I just want to remind you, you're here to talk about your products, so it's
not
bad to bring them up.
Okay, well, once in a while, sure. But the thing is, I think, though, that, from our standpoint, the priority's always got to be sort of cultivation and success on the part of a grower. Mm-hmm. So I'm happy to share that and that education. In fact, in the industry, I share that quite freely because we need to see more from the industry in the form of this extracted kind of product as opposed to what I'm going to call copycat mineral-based brands. So because... yeah, I mean, like the evolution of the hydroponics fertilizers, the evolution of the industry, stepping back in the 90s, it was all about getting as big a yield as you could and doing it without organics. I think it was kind of, if you said in the late 90s you were an organic grower, the serious growers maybe even laughed at you a little bit because, well, you're not serious about growing.
I want to know what I'm supposed to be serious about.
I'm serious about growing.
But I don't know what I'm supposed to.
Yeah. Sorry, am I there?
Yeah,
you are now.
Yeah. So what are we supposed to be serious about?
That there was a real push towards understanding mineral-based or salt-based nutrient regimes. That whole we're going to cultivate on the moon, we're going to grow on the space shuttle. We don't need organics. And yes, you can grow a plant from a purely mineral-based perspective, but as these commercial growers that I hosted in San Jose were saying, you're definitely leaving stuff. You're leaving quality on the table by not accessing that through organic means. So in the last 10, 12 years, I would say there's been this increased wave and focus on it. There was also some advancements in this understanding of the soil web, the use of microbes and naturally occurring organic mechanisms for the transport of the mineral-based elements through the root membrane. There's been a lot of focus on that, and development understanding has increased, and that's resulted in some products, that kind of thing, including FloraMax. That's sort of where our research sort of led to a new line, was how we could incorporate these organics in a form that handles those three problems. So of organics. So sorry, I've just kept crapping on and stuff like that. But yeah.
See, I know absolutely nothing about organic growing, and I basically just learned with like 1 part nutrients. So you're speaking a whole different language, and I don't even understand the benefits of growing organic over non-organic.
Good question. Well, that actually maybe is not framed as a question, but actually, so what would be the main
That's what I do.
Yeah, but one of the probably the advantage of it when I say from a quality standpoint. So what we see with our Organobud product by accessing the organic that kelp and specialist organic compound extract in that product is we actually get a wider terpene profile. So we've got a bit of data now to show that when the final product is produced, that you're getting a broader spectrum of oils, not necessarily more. We have another product, Resin Excess, that actually uses an organic stimulant to produce more oil, which is fantastic because there's a lot of ways to sort of trick a marijuana plant into producing a little bit more oil. Some of them are good. Some of them make use of chemicals that probably shouldn't be in the industry or shouldn't be. There may be other consequences to the use of those chemicals, and by that I'm referring to certain PGR, plant growth regulator products. So, Mary Jane, those are there are fertilizers out there called plant growth regulators that can create different effects on plant function. You can get faster growth. You can get a denser cola, denser nugget, which is important for a product that sells by weight. Some of them increase oil as well, but in the process, some of them can cause a plant to absorb more heavy metals. Some of them are actually by themselves like cancer causing. So there's obviously some implications to the use of those kinds of products. So,
do you want to name some?
Sure. So the big bad boys, one called paclobutrazol.
Yep.
So the nickname is called Paclo. You won't find that easily, I would say, in most North American markets because they're well regulated. Probably one of the benefits of legalization has been the increased scrutiny on end product quality. So just as an example, say that because I live in a jurisdiction where the cultivation is highly restricted, but pretend my daughter's actually said to me, "Hey, Dad, I wouldn't mind actually getting a bit of weed. I got this weed from a guy," all the rest of it. So, maybe that guy working in the industry, that father might say, "Hey, that's maybe, you don't know the source. You don't know how that's been done. It wasn't like you purchased it at a dispensary where it's been sort of tested or that it's been subject to quality control standards during its cultivation. So you should just probably grow your own." So, I think this would maybe resonate with a lot of your, with the audience is that, one of the best reasons for growing your own would be actually for, so that you actually know what's involved in that process. And, to sort of establish quality. The other way to do it is to purchase it from a reputable source, which is available in those legal markets in Canada and the US, but the rest of the world maybe doesn't have that luxury. So, but Mary Jane, you were saying the benefits of organic growing, you're using if you're saying you're using a 1-part nutrient, that is going to be a mineral-based, that will be a mineral-based additive. And the best way to sort of incorporate is continue using that and then put on some kind of an additive on top. Mary Jane, where are you located?
In Ontario.
Okay. So, I could probably get you a sample of that, of our Organobud, that kelp product. And then you could, and you would not change anything you're doing. You would simply add that on top. Okay. So, yeah. And as an organic, and another benefit of organic products and organic growings is that there's very little to no toxicity risk. So with a lot of fertilizers, and people would know this even from just fertilizing a lawn, you can create saturation or toxicity condition in the soil if you over fertilize, and that won't go well. But with organics, there's very little risk of that. So that's a good thing. But again, the benefits might be a wider terpene profile. We've seen with some organic products, there's ways to organically stimulate oil production. So that would be a higher THC, CBD content. You can also, with that, when you're getting a more accurate representation of a plant's genetics, you're probably picking up on things like colors in the flower, which sort of contribute to bag appeal, that kind of thing. So, there's a thinking that's starting to evolve in some of the growers that I've spoken with, that if you just hammer plants with mineral-based lines with no organic content, yeah, you'll probably actually get quite a large crop, but you're definitely leaving something on the table. And in a world where everyone's doing the same thing, people are trying to differentiate themselves and create better quality product. And I think that's sort of why organics, there's been an increased focus on organics. Okay, I just talked way too much, so sorry.
That was amazing. Like personally, if you can get more terpenes in your cannabis and more resin on your buds, that just seems like a win-win. Like, why wouldn't you do that?
Yeah. So those things, those are great end goals, but it's kind of like how that's achieved. It is also quite important because, as we said, there are products on the market, plant growth regulators, that will create those things, but maybe in a way, how it's done is important too, because
I'm gonna relate it to like working out. You could get muscles and get jacked by doing all sorts of steroids, but that's not probably the best way to go about it.
That's a pretty good that's a good metaphor, I would say. Yeah. So yeah, how it's done is
I'm on TV. Okay, now get me gone.
Okay. All right.
Oh,
so what are you guys seeing?
I'm seeing a lot of birds in the trees in front of me. That's what's keeping me
It's
amused.
funny taking with your camera out there.
Yeah.
No, I'm meaning on like that. So sorry. Am I like the only serious person here? Jeez, I'm under pressure, so I'm not with you guys all the time because yeah.
No, I was actually really serious, but then I smoked a hash joint. Now I don't know where I am or where my bike is.
You're at home,
but I'm loving this. Yeah, you fucker, you're trying to kill me.
I'm enjoying listening.
No, I'm learning lots.
No, I think it's interesting.
The thing I like about the products, the line is one, it's affordable. It's not overly expensive. Two, it has the science to back it up. And three, well, you guys sell. I like what you guys say on your bottle, but I like to change that to you guys sell results.
Well, I like that. I mean, like really.
What does it say?
Your harvest is our priority.
Yeah,
we said
that's
that.
a pretty good tagline too, though.
No,
Ken didn't even know that they said that.
but I like the fact that yes, you guys sell the science because I love this pamphlet, Ken. I love it.
Oh, the Grower's Guide.
Oh my God, I love this thing, man. Marcel, you're gonna love this.
Is it up on the website, Ken?
Ken had that on last time he was on it. It's the best grow guide I ever saw.
Yes, I got a bunch of them, Lenny. So
grow guide. Yeah,
but I mean,
I'm gonna share the website.
I want one. Bring me one.
Everybody can.
And you got feed charts, and I want a feed chart.
Yep.
So the Grow Guide is a compilation of articles with cultivation techniques, and they're not actually specific to FloraMax products.
You guys can see what I'm doing, yeah.
Yeah. If you go up to Grow Guide, and you will see all those articles. There's actually more articles on the website than on the actual Grow Guide. So over the years, Andrew Taylor, who's the founder of FloraMax, he's also the head chemist. He's written a couple of books, and he's basically condensed the content from those books into sort of easy to absorb articles that are kind of topic specific.
Pick one, Marcel.
I can't see; it's too small.
How about?
Okay, hold on. Let me. Oh, it should be full.
No, on my screen it's too small.
There we go.
Okay, I get you.
Yeah, maybe pick up supercharged cuttings.
Supercharged cuttings.
Right there.
Okay.
All right, 10 steps to cuttings. And incidentally, this works for tomatoes and everything else too. So basically, where to take a cut, how to take a cut, and then a couple of just how-tos. So that's a pretty easy to absorb article.
All of this stuff is at FloraMax.com with the www, of course.
Yeah.
No, they have an amazing webpage.
So we actually have an ulterior motive with this Grow Guide because the more likely that growers are able to employ good cultivation practices, they're more likely to get better results and less likely to blame the nutrient.
Mm-hmm.
So that's that.
It's actually pretty smart.
Dead serious. No, dead serious because most growers or companies or just people that get other people to grow for them will say, here, take this and grow my plants for me. Yeah, not a problem. And then he takes it and he grows it, never used the product before, grows the plant, doesn't turn out to what the brochure or the jug tells you that you'll get a good result with it. And then now he's pissed off and says that nutrient is garbage. So
yeah,
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of factors in a grow. So we're attempting to sort of, I have this discussion with growers and you say, all right, well, prioritize. What are your priorities as a grower in terms of managing? Where do nutrients sit? I sell nutrients for a living, but honestly, nutrients are probably number 4 or 5 on that list. There's probably a whole bunch of other environmental factors that actually have more of a, that would actually, things that'll fuck a grow.
Well,
there are things that
your first two is lighting and airflow.
Yeah, temperature, humidity, all those things, environment, and actually, it's interesting. I was in a hydroponics shop in Chicago, Chicago Roots. Actually, it's interesting. They keep a huge saltwater aquarium in this shop, which sells like fertilizers and stuff. And I sort of listened to one of the salespeople, and this was actually really cool. He's talking to a first-time grower, and he says, "See these fish? All right. Well, these fish, I keep the water. Okay. These are the things I check: salinity, pH. That sounds familiar for a grower. Okay. All the rest of this, all this equipment is to manage the water. If I get the water right, it doesn't matter what fish is in there. That fish is going to thrive." So another way of looking at cultivation, with plants, because everyone focuses on the organism. So, it's a plant, right? So, people see yellow leaves, they lose their shit. Everyone's like kind of, oh, have I got a disease? And then people do all sorts of crazy things. Like they'll dig up and try to look at the roots to see if there are root aphids, that kind of thing. Is it a disease? Like all sorts of stuff, because they're desperate, because they're about to lose their, their crop or their plant and all the rest of it. And the thing is, plants take they can take a long time to revamp or to come back from, like, say, root rot or some of these other situations. So in the haste to apply different products to solve a perceived problem, they end up creating more problems. So, the other way, and maybe it's a more organic way of thinking, is that you actually, as a grower, you're probably keeping the environment. If you get that humidity, temperature, light, right, all the rest of it, if your humidity is too high, powdery mildew is going to be a significant risk. So the thing is, but if your humidity is low, that'll probably never be an issue. So actually, instead of focusing on the living organism, and I mean, you obviously have to for things like trim, but focus on the environment. And that's sort of an interesting way of doing it. So this shop actually uses that aquarium as a sales tool and an education tool, because they're saying the reason you need a fan is because you need ventilation. The reason you might need some kind of air conditioning is because it gets hot a couple of days a year. That kind of thing, because in the process, they sell tents, they sell fans, they sell lights, all these different things that are environmentally, associated with the environment. So I thought that you might find that interesting. I like it. I think that's a great way to say it.
It is an analogy.
I'm interested in something else now that I've read about it, because Darcy had mentioned it, because I read the article about cuttings, and it talks about FloraMax clone spray. Did you? Does Darcy?
I ain't got none.
No, that was my question, because I'd like to try that.
You didn't get any.
Wait, what is clone spray?
So clone spray contains.
I got some, Ken, but I ain't got none, Marcel.
Oh, you got some? Good. Because I want to try it. I've got clones right now.
You give a guy a couple of things, and he thinks he's fucking Godfather or something.
What is it? What is it? Tell me. I want to know.
I'm trying to tell you. It contains 90% organic stimulants that are customized for stomatal absorption. Mm-hmm. So it helps reduce overall cropping time by promoting root development, typically within 4 to 7 days instead of the 5 to 10.
Wow.
Followed by explosive root and foliage growth through veg and early bloom. Helps prevent transplant stress and wilting of stems and leaves. Absorption through the stomatal pathway is enhanced via application-specific pH conditioners and a non-toxic plant-specific wetting agent.
So I can give you a little bit more insight into that product. So look, our line, and this is one thing is like it's really hard. Like there's so much research into our product, and like actually decades, because FloraMax actually started in 1966. So, but I was going to say that without so on that particular product. So clone spray clones obviously don't have roots to begin with when you cut them, right? So there's no roots to absorb. So how do you get how do you get it into the plant? So foliars are a pathway into the plant to sort of get nutrients to sort of stimulate function. So with a lot of foliar, so a lot of products can be foliar fed, as in misted on the leaves, but there's the understanding of foliar practices. There are not many growers that sort of have done that work. But if you missed it on leaves, that's fine. One thing with a lot of other products is if when you pour, water plants, the water often beads on the leaves, right? And then
another freeze up there, Ken. We'll come back.
Can you hear me audio wise when that blips? Okay. Anyway,
back.
Still going. Okay. I was going to say that in order to get that stuff into the plant, you need a wetting agent, and a wetting agent basically will break that. There's basically a magnetic charge and the hydrophobic quality of a leaf, and it allowed it to absorb into the leaf. So clone spray being designed as a foliar from the beginning. A lot of foliars you have to add a wetting agent. We actually incorporate one, and then actually that wetting agent. There's what's a really small detail, but is actually quite important, is that it actually has to be pH balanced as well to sort of optimize absorption into the leaf. So people will buy commercial wetting agents without any kind of understanding of that pH balance and stuff. And look, it won't be 0% of efficacy. It'll still work, but there'll be some kind of performance loss if that pH isn't managed. But if you live somewhere with good water conditions, then that's not an issue. But results may vary. So we've sort of incorporated those into that product. And then, as Marcel read, there are some organic components in there that basically feed and stimulate the feed the plant and stimulate root production. Incidentally, we call it clone spray, but there are a lot of people that use that just as a foliar feed throughout the grow, because it does contain a built-in wetting agent. So it actually is suitable. Another good tactic is to use those kind of foliar products on a mom just before you take cuttings. The mom will come back a lot quicker. So that's actually.
Can you send me a list of what you sent Darcy so I can go shopping on Sunday?
No.
Because if I know ahead of time what there is, then he's not going to be able to hold it back on me.
There should be a couple of little bottles of the clone spray. You might
bastards! I come back and all they gimme.
No, Ken said that he was sending me some stuff. Darcy's got the stuff. I'm going to make sure I get it out of Darcy.
There you
go. You got the stuff, Darcy?
He's gonna hoard it now. He's already been posting it on fucking Facebook that he's got all this shit. And if anybody
he knows the guy,
he knows the guy. So
he's got to hook up.
He's trying.
He did not post that on Facebook.
He did.
No, he knows didn't. A guy. That was a private message. I was going to say I use a product that I put with my water after I use my rooting hormone when I do my cuttings. And I'm thinking it's a mineral based.
Is it called Olivia Clone Solution?
No, it's actually so I use oh my God, what is that rooting agent that's a powder?
Stimroot.
Yes, thank you. I use
Stimroot number 2.
No, I use number 3.
Number 2 is the one for
number 2.
I use the hard one, the one you're supposed to use for apple trees and stuff. I use
that's not what a cannabis plant is.
Yeah, okay, but it works, and I use it.
It does work, but it's not as effective as Stimroot 2.
Well, with this product, that's actually I don't think it's used for. I don't even know if I should show it.
Sorry, pretty young.
Okay, like we can see that. No.
Can you see that?
Oh yeah.
Piranha.
So yeah. I use that and I mix it with water, and I get results within 4 to 6 days for roots.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure that Piranha's been recalled?
Why?
I don't know, because it works. That's what I was told every time something was recalled.
Causing.
I don't know.
Thalidomide worked for women's nausea.
Yeah, for about 3 years.
I could see why the
asbestos works.
Well,
the organic would be the better way,
work.
right?
Yeah, look. There are two reasons why products are recalled in this industry. Okay, one of them will be there'll be untoward ingredients. I'm not suggesting that that's the case with Piranha. Or the second thing is there will be a labeling issue.
It's usually mislabeling.
Or labeling anything.
It's usually mislabel.
Labeling.
Yeah, they say labeling, but I mean, I was a rep for that company for like a year, and it was always labeling.
Trust me, labeling's a fucking bitch.
Well, there's a big there's an interesting thing in the industry right now with silicas and the term of monosilicic acid. So monosilicic acid is a subspecies of silica, and basically a number of companies purport, including us, to use monosilicic acid because our products do contain monosilicic acid. But what's happened is the industry has a couple of companies started promoting this. It's not actually true that monosilicic acid is more easily absorbed by a plant than other subspecies of silica. Okay, that's actually not true. Any silica, any subspecies of silica, if it's in liquid form, as in it hasn't come out of solution, that will be absorbed by a plant. Okay, so but what happened was in September, I believe, Department of Ag in California sort of issued, basically they said no one can use the term monosilicic acid on a label anymore. Okay, because it implies, because the industry had conned onto this, it's more absorbable, and everyone has been saying, oh yeah, does it have monosilicic acid because it'll be more easily taken up by the plant, which is actually not true. So Department of Ag California's come out, and their reason is you can't use monosilicic acid on a label because it implies there is a benefit where there is none. Okay, now what they're getting at here is that anytime you put potassium silicate in water, it produces monosilicic acid. So when a company says we put monosilicic acid in their silica, that's the same as me saying that my bread has wheat in it. Well, of course it fucking does. It's bread. Okay, so all silicas contain.
I was just going to say that. I didn't want to be an ass. Thanks, Len.
I'm just fucking with you, Ken.
Yeah. But anyway, so it's interesting. So they've taken the step of actually removing all products. So California, actually, they said that you have until September 2024 to become compliant. But Oregon and Washington came out in November and said that it must be taken off the shelves immediately if it has the term monosilicic acid on it, because it implies there's a benefit where there is none. So a number of products in Oregon and Washington were noticeably absent in November, and some poor rep had to actually go and re-sticker every bottle in those two states on shelves in order to get them back in.
I've had to do that with auto parts, and it sucks.
Yeah. So I wish I'd taken a picture because I was in Seattle, and I saw there's this one product, and basically it's the identical sticker. It's just where it said monosilicic acid, it's just left blank. But if you hold it up to the light, you can see through the top sticker and you can see the bottom sticker where it says monosilicic acid. But that's just, so in that case, with that ingredient, there is no health risk. But that's just, some of the motivations for the various governing bodies in terms of how, what they're trying to achieve with their labeling is, obviously they're trying to represent some kind of truth to the consumer. We do see in the industry a lot of locally products that are sold in a region or locally, but people on, say, the west coast of the U.S. would never see some products from the east coast because they would never meet the labeling registrations. So it's interesting because as a company, one of the things you target is, you figure out what markets you're going to go into. So with FloraMax, there was always a desire to create an international brand, a brand that would be actually sort of suitable in a number of different markets. So if you're going to do that, the first thing you do is you go to your toughest jurisdictions, because there's no point in making something that is compliant in. So one of the weaker states for compliance and registration would be Ohio. There are a number of brands in Ohio that you will never see anywhere else. Because
so what you're saying is don't smoke weed in Ohio?
Well, no, not necessarily, because there's actually some great product comes out of there too. But at the same time, but there's a lot of these products you would not find from being used in commercial operations. Most commercial operations will have some kind of a process and look for some kind of compliance just as a risk management strategy and governance strategy. So, but I was going to say that some of those products in Ohio, if you can follow me here, if the manufacturer, you come up with this product, you launch it in Ohio, you've done all your labels, and you're good in Ohio. Then what happens is you go to Kentucky, and they say, hey, you know what? So Kentucky has strict, is pretty strict on silicas. Then so you take your silica and you go, oh shit, we don't have to. So you got to come up with another label. Okay, so you do that. Then you decide to go to California. Again, there's a step change in governance. So now you've got to do a label again. Okay, and you have to re-register each of these products, and you have to relabel. And when you relabel, it's not just sticking a label on. Someone actually has to create a
Frozen. Really interesting.
Frozen, right? It's like that sensor.
He's always at the he's right at the punchline every time.
Had enough, Ken? Fuck off.
You know what? The guy that killed JFK, what?
Yeah, exactly.
And you put salt into, and then mix, and then yeah. Hi, Ken. Welcome back.
You back, Ken?
Yeah, sorry. I thought you guys might have just like hit the buzzer on me because I was talking too much.
Yeah, so
No,
shut up now,
never.
man. But
no, you were saying
now that
about
we're
it's
at
not
that-
just sticking a label. You were going on. It's not just sticking a label on, which I actually appreciate.
now that we're
Yeah,
at that point, I think we're going to take a break. Mary Jane, you need to send me a link on YouTube, not Spotify, please. And you've got a minute to find it.
Sorry. Hey, but I'll just finish. If I can just finish that thought on the label.
Okay,
before I
yes.
take the break.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to say that basically, the strategy, if you actually want, is you go to the toughest jurisdiction first. So the toughest we've found is actually probably Canada, CFIA in Canada and Oregon. So if you can actually get approved in the toughest markets first, then everything else is a piece of piss, right? So that's actually
overkill, then you're good covered everywhere else.
Yeah, so people bitch about the governing bodies all the time, but they're there to do a job, and they actually, if you actually can tick their boxes, they actually make you better. So there's kind of a creative tension at work there if you can look at it that way. Yeah, it's painful and all the rest of it, but instead of looking at it as kind of this person is just trying to shut down everything I'm doing, no, they're actually there should be a motivation there. And if you can create that dialogue with them and they see you're trying to work with them and stuff like that, actually sometimes it can be really educational for everyone. So, but again, that's more of probably a collaborative academic approach to sort of trying to achieve something commercially. It's a long game.
Cool.
I've actually had pretty good engagements with Health Canada, to be honest, over the last few years.
Yeah. So
that's also not CFIA.
No, but just anything like regulatory wise, it's they're not. Again, I'm not saying the politicians, the legislations always, and the acts are always correct, but at least your inspectors and the people you work with daily, they're not trying to be they're trying to work within the parameters they're given, but they're trying to be helpful. Is what I've always discovered.
Yeah, especially if you're respectful to them and don't treat them.
Oh yeah. You come and yell at them. I was like, "This is stupid." They ain't gonna be.
It's not gonna go well
for you, right? That's not a good way to start.
Yeah.
So, can we take a break now?
No, I think we want to keep going now. What are you gonna
Oh, Lenny was getting lippy. I kind of like it.
That was right on.
We'll be right back. The boss man has spoken.
Hey, Mary Jane Baker. No, I'm Mary Jane Baker. Wait, can we do that again?
Mary Jane Baker, take 27.
Hey, I'm Mary Jane Baker, and you're listening to 420radio.ca.
You're listening to 420radio.ca, Canadian Cannabis Radio.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more. We've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
You want music? Rock, punk, metal, alternative music. The Coverage Radio Show has what you want. Every other Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on 420radio.ca. Hosted by DJ Michael Alvich, bringing you new and retro tunes from both major and independent labels. Only on the Coverage Radio Show. Radio Show. Radio Show.
I'm in love with the pure hybrid Mary Jane. There's so many different strains and names. Hey, one for focus, one for pain, one for the body, one for the brain, one for night and one for day, one for work and one for play. I love the blaze. Purple haze, lemon haze, silver haze. I want mason jars filled with every grade. Since the star jet, Haramazar, nightshade, white with a white rhino. Let's ride the white train with Mr. Mendo to Humboldt County. OG Sour Power and Maui. Wow, we at G13 is yelling loudly. Everything around me fragrant and cloudy. Hollyweed lamb spread straight from Cali. Purple Kush and purple granddaddy. Blue dream, blue velvet, blue Afghani. Hash plant Kush, blueberry, Napa Valley. Enjoying Durban boys in the northern lights. Put on my headband to get my hair right. My night nurse is night queen. I needed a night. Some stank, some dank, sour, these are the light. I'm in love with the pure hybrid Mary Jane. There's so many different strains and names. Hey, one for focus, one for pain, one for the body, one for the brain, one for night and one for day, one for work and one for play. I love the blaze. About 34 different OG cushions. Skywalker, Tahoe, Girl Scout cookies, critical mass. And tangerine hash, super crystal, blackjack and green crack, power plant, king's bread, Romulan, blackberry kush, royal flush, and harlequin chocolate. I'm buried in smoking lost off that great white chalk and strawberry cough. We can't dismiss Indy 99 or Swiss Miss, the white mighty pineapple express, indicas, aruderalis, cannabis varieties all up in my chalice. That Shiva shot, some skunk and suede, Acapulco gold, island lady, some early girl, little Jamaican pearl. I need mason jars filled with every strain in the world. I'm in love with the pure hybrid Mary Jane. There's so many different strains and names. Hey, one for focus, one for pain, one for the body, one for the brain, one for night and one for day, one for work and one for play. I love the blaze.
I like to blaze too. Al's so blazed, he forgot he's on mute.
Who was that, Mary Jane?
Was that?
Who was that? You chose it. So.
Illuminati Congo.
Okay, I like that.
If anybody's interested, I have a whole playlist on Spotify with songs just titled Mary Jane.
Huh.
Yeah,
Look at that.
that's one of. You would be surprised how many songs there are with the name Mary Jane.
Oh, I know. I think I've probably made that search myself a few times. So
I'm
this
sad to
is
say none
the
of them are about me, though.
oh well, you know, the
Not yet.
ego gets struck down every now and then.
No,
I
it
missed
just
the whole
grows
song.
every time it gets struck down. It gets bigger. The demon gets bigger.
The bigger. So this is the 420 radio show with the demon Mary Jane. We're chatting with Ken from FloraMax.
FloraMax.
I know.
Jeez.
Of course, I know. I've said it so many times now.
You
I
have
know.
benign prostatic hypertrophy, Al?
What was that?
My large prostate.
Yeah, I do, and I'm actually on FloraMax. So yeah, there you go.
That's funny.
But anyway, so FloraMax is a. I don't want to say the wrong thing, so I'm gonna just if you could just give.
No. You say what FloraMax is, Al.
It's a chemical you put in your plants to make them grow better and do things.
No,
Chemical,
never did
not
they
a
say chemical.
See, that's why I
Organic.
didn't want to say it, bonehead.
Organic.
It's not a chemical.
Well,
It's a bunch of natural
I would still
ingredients
chemical.
all put together, and then Ken kisses every bottle as they go out of the warehouse. Comes from spit from Australia.
Can I guess? Like
Yes, yeah,
based
go
on
ahead.
I'm gonna
Go ahead.
say it's an organic concentrated nutrient or additive for your
That would be a good.
a better.
Can I try?
Yes, please. Can you tell us?
I would say that FloraMax is a full range of cannabis-specific nutrients for
Stop
all your
bringing up the
growing
web
needs.
page, you fucking cheat.
Organic.
That's off the
You
top
forgot
of my
the word
head.
Organic.
It's not all organic though, so
He's
I'm not
reading
going
the fucking
because
website.
minerals too.
right. They've got because it's not all organic. That's not what I would lead with. It's a full range of cannabis products.
Because you do have some non-organic products, don't you?
Absolutely.
Some
So-
or what they call now synthetics.
Like minerals, like minerals, like the plants do need them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Salt-based mineral. So there are salt-based. So it is there's a bunch of products.
Mhm.
Some of them are mineral-based. Some of them are organic, 100% organic, and some of them are actually a combination of the two. And that's probably where we're a little bit different because we're probably one of the first lines to actually be truly biosynthetic, as in have components of both in the same product. Typically, people will have their mineral-based bottles because they'll have a long shelf life, and that kind of thing. And then the organic piece, they'll sort of throw on one or two bottles on top of that with it'll usually be a raw organic, which we were making.
I know a lot of OG growers here in Ontario, probably around the world by now, who the minute they hear that word synthetic, not interested.
Because a lot of times,
Hold on,
they
Marcel.
think-
Hold on. So I guess what I want to say is change my mind, which is what we're doing. We're chatting about it. Because some of these, like I don't want to mention any names because there's an argument coming down the road. But a lot of the guys that I've known for years and years and years in the community, they don't want to hear anything about it. So what do you say to them guys like Marcel, Ken, whoever wants to say, what do you
Marcel,
say to
you
them?
go first.
He's gone. He'll be right back. But I'll say something to that. I've used personally myself over the past 22 years of growing cannabis. I've used 8 different nutrients lines. The last 2 years, my products have never been better. And that's just not, and that's being non-biased.
And he keeps talking about it, and it's fucking
Well,
boring. No, I'm kidding.
Well, it's just I can't say enough about it. I
Yeah,
tell
I know.
everybody about it, and they're
Yeah.
like, "Oh yeah, well, it's just like every other nutrient." Well, no,
that's what I've heard, because
it's not.
I've said we've had Ken on before, and we've chatted about this. That's what I get from those people. Those people.
But no,
Yeah.
seriously though, I that's what I find. I try it, I use it. I can't say that I push the product. I tell people use it, and you won't be disappointed.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people grow by the if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Yes.
Like
Of course.
I've been
think
using
that's
one
the
nutrient
smart.
for
I
this
think that's
amount of time.
extremely
So
smart.
yeah.
But you can also do like on a small scale, a little R&D is like, there's always a little bit of aspect. You can always do better. So there's nothing wrong with that. But I don't get too tied up in the term synthetic, right? Like if I told everyone is like, man, everyone should be using magnesium sulfate all the time, not for plants, but just for their body.
In general.
Most people don't know that's fucking Epsom salt. Right? Like it's a pretty
Yeah.
safe product, but like everything's a chemical. How it's made, like in the meat, to me, it's like comes down to purity, what other additives are in the product that may not be on the label, and really in this world, it's all about transparency. And you show me some fucking evidence. If you say I'm going to get 30% more of X, where's the study showing it?
This is from the drug kingpin here.
No. I deal.
Yes,
Listen, I deal with supplements and pharmaceuticals.
I know you do.
Pharmaceuticals a little bit different, but natural supplements and botanicals. Everyone
it's the
has the
same.
highest purity, the best quality, all tested. They're the best. But why is this fish oil fucking $70 and this one's $12?
Well,
Big
hey,
difference.
Letty, I'll second that right there. Probiotics, for example.
Same
You can
thing.
go out. No, exactly. I've used the cheap ones, and then I go to Lenny's medicine shop and I buy the more expensive ones. And you want to know something? I feel 10 times better taking the more expensive ones because it's more of a pure product.
When it comes to quality products, you pay for what you
Well,
get.
no,
for it.
exactly. So I guess what I was getting at is, to me, it's not even about synthetic. Like, listen, I think one of the worst things in this world is, maybe I'll be wrong, but everyone's eating these plant-based fucking burgers.
Oh,
That to me is synthetic. That's made in a lab, so.
Hey, everyone's going to be eating lead-based
But
beef here soon.
they've been growing beef for how long?
Yeah.
And that's
but
what-
most
and that's what a-
vegetarians and vegans are not eating that, Lenny.
Yeah,
No,
fair
I'm
enough.
not saying that, but I'm just
they
saying.
know it's the processed because it is. It's still processed.
Exactly. So I don't really get worried about synthetic. It's just what is the product claiming? What's the science behind it? Is it appears? You know what I mean? I think sometimes we just get too righteous. Sometimes.
I think when people talk about synthetic, so the reality. So you pose that question about those growers that sort of say it's synthetic. I don't want to know anything about it. I have no interest in that because I'm an organic grower. Okay, so here's the reality, right? Plants need inputs. All right, those inputs, and they actually need synthetic input. Well, they need mineral-based inputs. You can divide those up into macronutrients. So those are your big blocks. So calcium, magnesium, iron, okay, that kind of thing. Nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. Those are your macronutrients. And then plants actually need micronutrients as well. So those ones would be boron, zinc, manganese. There's a suite of them. There's sort of 6 key ones. So all plants need those things. Now, really the distinction. So those organic growers that go, well, I don't need mineral based. You're wrong. They actually do. The difference or the distinction is, are they naturally sourced? Okay, naturally sourced is probably the right term. Is it calcium, magnesium? Is it iron that naturally is occurring in your growing medium? So your soil, your living soil, how that gets there, it can be animal shit, it can be microbes, all that stuff. They all contain various amounts of those elements. Okay, so and the growing medium will have them as well, and the plants will absorb it. In the absence of those elements, a plant will not grow. So does it need to be natural? So then the next step is, does it actually need to be naturally sourced? Okay, so some people feel they get a better end result with if it is naturally sourced. But a big problem with a lot of living soils, and because we get compared with, they'll say, oh, I'm going to compare your products versus a living soil, and I'll just say it's actually it's not a fair comparison, because most soils over 12-month grow the naturally occurring elements in there will deplete over time. There is not as much calcium at the end of the grow as at the start of the grow, probably when the plant needs it. So it's never a fair shootout, and that's why I sort of say to the organic growers, I say that's not really the right way to do it. But people use fertilizers for also, there's got to be a way to inject or to replace the minerals that have been depleted in the soil. So people do things like they top dress with manure, they put kelp on it and stuff like that. All those things will contain those elements to some degree. It's just in a naturally sourced form. So that's what they want. So whether it's naturally sourced or whether it's a powder that you're throwing on top of the soil, I don't know. People need to make that judgment as to what they want. If they feel better about it because it came from kelp, there's no way the concentrations are going to be as high as if it was in powder or in a purposely made nutrient. But those organic growers, they need those things. And then Mary Jane, you made that comment about you're right. A lot of growers are resistant to change. A lot of people, but the technology moves along. So I have a 20-year-old Nokia cell phone. It works. There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's
but
crazy.
I don't use it anymore. So I have to concede the fact that maybe things have gotten better. I love that phone. I used to do a lot of it was amazing. So
I want to know: is it a flip phone?
People like
or
BlackBerry.
Is it a 5190?
It's actually
anyone still rock the BlackBerry?
Yeah, I still have Blackberries, and I still
have
got
my
a
BlackBerry.
Motorola Razr flip phone.
I've
I
just
wanna
gone
raise
from
my-
iPhone. I went from this an SE to this. Oh, you
Can't
guys
see
can't
them.
see it. 'Cause we're watching Mary Jane roll a joint. Okay, hold on. Okay, so this is what I got now. Can't see it still because I'm. There we go.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Looks like a regular phone.
So Ken, since
Yeah,
you brought it,
it's A13.
since you brought it up about the living soil, what about living soil and enhancing it with FloraMax nutrients?
Oh, so interesting trend. I think that so, and I respect. There's a lot of really some of them like kind of older cultivation techniques. There's this one that I can't remember, but this Korean style of I'm trying to remember the term for it. But basically, it's kind of like living replenishing biome kind of thing, and it's sort of using the offcuts and the unharvested parts of the plant to put nitrogen back in the soil and stuff like this. There's so that's a really natural kind of setup, and those kind of setups can take years to sort of take a little while to get them kind of cranking and get sort of that a really organic style that way.
But so my background that's up on the screen now is.
Where is
That's
it?
a hint for Al. Put my screen up, even though he can.
Oh,
do
it looks
himself.
like Dale. It looks like Dale knows. I
Oh,
can't
yeah,
see
yeah,
the
okay.
All right.
comments.
So that's my autopot system with 2 mother plants in it.
Mhm.
And what I've got in it is kryptonite soil, which is like a living soil that's supposed to feed the entire thing. But I'm running an autopot system and running root excess and the 1-part formula.
Okay.
But
Yeah. So
on a
so it's
diluted state.
right. So there's
I'm not feeding it that schedule, but
yeah. So that's what I was going to say. There is a trend towards some hybridization where basically people are mixing. So again, even organic growers are they really organic because you're delivering the elements how you're developing it. So you're giving a plant what it needs. You're doing it through a naturally sourced method because you're running a living soil. Okay, and then you're augmenting that with something else. I would think that you're going to sort of pick up yield, a bit of yield and quality. It's actually there are a few danger points in terms of mixing the two. The most is that there are some products on the market that are not compatible with organics, and by not compatible will kill the organics. So a really common one for hydroponic growers is a lot of people are trying to prevent root rot, and they use products like UC Roots. Basically, any kind of hypochlorous acid or peroxiding agent will not be it'll harm the organics. But typically people buy those product categories when they have a problem. So again, if they haven't managed their environment right and they have pests or they have a fungal infection, they need to. A fungal infection in a plant in nature usually does not turn out well for the plant. Okay, so But people then, it's like, at what stage does an organic grower, if you're really organic and, live and let live, you're just kind of like, okay, well, this wasn't to be. But, if you're 10 weeks into a grow, it's kind of like hard to give that up. So maybe you're going to be organic, except for that 1 week you weren't organic because you were about to lose your whole room. So
Exactly.
yeah. So then you go hit your reservoir with UC roots, which are hypochlorous acid. That will kill the fungus, but it will kill everything else that's organic as well.
Right.
So so that but people have figured out there are ways to manage it. I know there's some people that will use those disinfecting products. Maybe they use them once a week, and then well, it depends on how often they turn over their reservoirs. But then they'll re-inoculate with beneficial bacteria afterwards, and then they'll go back to it, and it just becomes part of a maintenance regimen to I guess if you're going to be really true organic growing, like maybe you wouldn't use auto pots, or well, it depends on you. Again, we started the conversation with a definition. So how that, there's so many different ways of doing it, but I think ultimately with different growing styles, people go with what works and where it fits on.
It's like anything else, really. You come up with a plan that works for you, and you do it. It's everybody does it differently, I'm sure, with a little bit of the same.
I know what works for me, but I'm always willing to try something new.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
So
yeah.
In my garden, outdoor garden this year, one plant will just have living soil and not be fed anything other than water. And just to compare it to the rest of my garden, because I'm growing all the same strain. So I want to see what the difference is, and I'm running the garden with FloraMax this year. Last year I did Mantis 1 part solution. And I mean, it turned out great for a 1 part solution. It wasn't bad. Cost-wise wasn't bad. But in my comparison with the FloraMax flowering agent, there was a definite difference between the two plants.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm happy with the FloraMax because the FloraMax is, I'm going to get slapped by somebody, but I'll say it's as good, if not better, than other products out there such as Psycho that are extremely expensive. Because I've used a lot of Psycho over the years, and I can't justify the cost compared to what the cost is for FloraMax.
Look, there's something here that I think is probably worth mentioning to people without. Sorry, not to interrupt you on the nutrient comparison because that was working in my favor. But I was going to say that with so organic growing, so if we're in living soil, and then I'm sticking that in a high CO2 environment with 1,000 watts of light, there is nothing natural about that. Okay.
No.
So the thing is now if I'm amping up various environmental variables, okay, the rate determining step is now not the amount of daylight, because I've given the plant as much light as it can take. Okay. Side lighting. There's all sorts of things that can be done. And then, you're sort of injecting CO2 in there. So that doesn't become a restraining variable. Okay. So at that point, so plants naturally, like, in general soil environments or where cannabis plants originated in Central Asia, that kind of thing, they would never see those kind of conditions. So the soil, the soil is probably not going to be up to scratch. So, it makes sense that now the rate determining step actually becomes the nutrient. And actually, we've seen that because there's been an evolution in lighting over the last few years. LED lights have seemed to have taken over and they've gotten really good. And people in the quest to advance things, because humans are funny, we're always we're never satisfied. And we're always trying to figure out ways to bigger and better, or that kind of thing. And part of this also is the benefit is, maybe quicker crop rotation, so that if people are trying to, this just doesn't apply to cannabis. I mean, we can sort of throw this out and say, like, the world's going to have a food problem. Okay. So, hydroponics is sort of seen as a way of managing that. When I was over there, I went through a tour of a bunch of hydroponic greenhouses around Leamington. These operations, I don't know if anyone's ever driven down there around between sort of Windsor and sort of just southern Ontario down there. But the greenhouses, they're like 30-foot ceilings. And, the facility I toured was 500 meters by 500 meters.
Yeah.
So it was enormous. They need golf carts to get around. And they're just, I took all these pictures and stuff, and reservoirs are massive and all the rest of it. But, that's where food comes from now, so, if you're going to feed the masses, and, it would be great if a lot of people could just get their veggie gardens going and stuff like that and sort of supplement it and augment it and stuff like that.
Your products are okay for edibles as well. Yes.
Definitely.
You mean for food?
For food, yeah.
Ken's products are not only good for food.
For gummies, Mary Jane, yes.
No, they're also good for your ornamental house plants.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Well, that's what I mean. Like
for your roses and your tulips and your
it's plant food.
So it's usable for anything, really.
Well, okay. So I'll back up. We designed our stuff for cannabis.
Put it on your penis and shut up.
We designed our shit for cannabis.
We designed it for cannabis. If it is beneficial for other products, it will be beneficial for other products, and that's great and stuff like that.
It would be.
But we approached it like from the beginning. The FloraMax line was cannabis specific.
Okay.
So
yeah.
Now,
didn't you hear my description earlier, Al?
Probably.
When I said what FloraMax was, that it's a cannabis specific nutrient line.
Yeah.
Yes.
A full
probably
range.
did.
But
it was a question that popped into my head. Could you use it? Because you can use Miracle Grow for weed, but I wouldn't recommend it.
I wouldn't use it for my vegetables either, though.
Okay.
Just flowers.
So I was going to say that by cannabis specific, I'll also say that so we do a product, Resin XS. That's probably our number one selling product. It's an oil enhancer. It's about 80% organic, and basically the organic in there stimulates oil production, and it specifically does that by stimulating trichome production. Okay, now I cannot think of a plant or a crop other than a cannabis plant where anyone would give a shit about the trichomes. Okay, so you could spend a lot of money on that product and throw it on your tomatoes or your strawberries, and you would have great trichomes, but no one would care. So it wouldn't. So it has no. I mean, I don't know. Could you? I don't know. Has anyone smoked a strawberry plant? I don't know. But
I bet Darcy has.
No, I haven't.
I wonder if it would do anything for hops.
Yeah, it would. Last year I used it, Marcel, and I had a lot more lilupulin acid.
You ran Resin XS on your hops?
I ran all my fucking plants in my backyard. Got what my weed plants got.
Darcy's squishing. You can tell.
I mean, I've done the same thing for years with my tomatoes and my peppers and everything like that. I go out and I feed the cannabis plants, and I'll mix up another batch of the same solution, usually at the same strength, and then feed my tomatoes and everything else. And I'll very likely be doing that with FloraMax this year.
Did you already squish their Darcy?
Yeah, I got one squish done.
Well, but show us the squish while you're squishing while Marcel's talking.
I grow all of my plants in pots. So even my tomatoes and things like that each get their own individual pot. That way I can control what they're getting for nutrients and water and things.
Look, you could probably, if you're doing vegetables with our line, because it is, it can be you could probably back off on the concentrations, because the demands won't be as high with other crops, like in terms of the what you sort of flower production.
Like I say, I do testing. If they die, they die. Not my cannabis plants. I don't let them die.
Yeah.
No, I'm happy with the line, but I'll be happier when I see the rest of the products, Darcy.
By the way, Marcel.
Yeah.
I'll be nice. I got a liter of silica. I'll share it with you.
Okay.
Oh, look at that. So actually, Marcel, just something while we were chatting here, because you showed us a picture of your grow there with the living soils in autopots, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Normally all the autopot would be fours, and that's because we had that conversation when you were down. My autopot, I only run water. Normally, if I'm feeding cannabis plants, I top feed.
Okay.
Only because I don't have the time to unclog lines.
Right.
and
System
drippers.
maintenance.
Yeah, so that's exactly what I was going to say. So, Marcel, I'm not sure if you're using or have heard of the system maintenance product that we make.
I have
It's okay. So, look, it's actually, this is something if on the topic of organic growing. So, one of the problems of organic growing would be, I would say, disease management or pest management. So, probably, and for a lot of growers, a big issue who are running any kind of hydroponics would be root rot. Now those fungal Pythium and Fusarium are actually the two fungal spores that occur naturally. They're just always present, but when conditions are right and when they sort of hit a concentration level, it'll result in a fungal infection. And what to a grower that looks like brown roots, slimy brown roots. I'm not sure if anyone sort of had some familiarity with that, but So at that stage, most growers are thinking, "I'm going to lose my room," or "This is not going well," and they will hit it with a harsher kind of product, like a hypochlorous acid. So now there's a couple of products on the market, like UC Roots is very popular, and that actually it actually works. But people have to realize that once it kills the infection, that your soils and all the rest of that stuff. So Marcel, in your case, you're running the autopods with living soil. If you run UC Roots in there, that soil is no longer going to be living. Right. So we make a product called System Maintenance, and it is absolutely unique. It is 100% organic itself. Okay. But actually what it does is it prevents Pythium and Fusarium. So it won't cure it, but you run it as a maintenance dose all the time. But the best thing about it is it actually is 100% compatible with all sort of organic kind of growing products. So mycorrhiza, beneficial bacteria, anything like that. So basically what it does is it targets bacteria of a certain size, because the bad ones are all a certain size. And basically it leaves the other ones alone. So it actually lets an organic grower be organic. We've had actually a lot of interest in that product because of that, because people are trying to find ways to be more organic with their growing. And so the thing is, if you use that, so for us, it's a preventative. So when you use it, you don't get these problems, but it won't cure the problems. Once you got the problem, you have to go to something harsher. But the point is it allows a more kind of balanced cultivation in terms of keeping your organics happy, that kind of thing. But I mentioned that because if you're running a living soil, that's a good product to just run as a preventative all the time. It's a really low rate too, so it's not expensive, and it'll prevent those issues without kind of any of the negatives of killing all your microbes. Because a lot of people, we made this joke about, when I meet organic growers, people say, I'm 100% organic, I'm 100% organic, indoor and stuff. And I said, yeah, except for that week you had a problem. When you had that, that week you had a problem, you're like, and you're about to lose a room in late bloom, you kind of hit it with some stuff. You weren't really organic that week. But then afterwards, they'll have to re-inoculate the soil. They'll have to, sort of try to get the microbial levels back up again to where it was. It's dangerous because if you actually do that too quick in an unbalanced sort of way, you risk, basically getting the infection again, whatever caused your problem in the first place. So, there's a lot going on there and a lot of risk in a grow. So this system maintenance product we make actually has become quite popular because it sort of helps manage that risk.
And not only that, but you can also clean your tools with it. It says right on the back of the bottle. You can clean your tools with it.
I've been using it in my autopop because, like I say, I don't like clogged lines. And being my mother plants, I definitely don't want one of them starving for water. But I didn't realize that it was 100% organic. And I didn't realize I could clean my tools, but I don't know, isopropyl alcohol cleans my tools.
Yeah. So, but anyway, that's just on the topic of organic. But we needed to develop that product because so many of our products are organic or highly organic. So the salt, the mineral based piece. There's a lot of companies out there doing the mineral and ourselves included. But that technology has been quite fully explored. So the thing is, the differences in mineral-based lines, look, you have to deliver to a plant the macronutrients and the micronutrients at various stages of growth. Whether you do that over 12 bottles or whether you do that over 2 bottles. Mary Jane, you mentioned you used a 1 part. Okay. So the thing is, wherever however you deliver it, you can sort of spread it out and all the rest of it. And that becomes a marketing and a money game for a lot of manufacturers and stuff. Okay.
Quick question. Isopropyl alcohol, inorganic or organic?
Well,
By
it's
definition.
it's classified by definition of Health Canada as an organic solvent.
Because it's carbon based.
Because it's a carbon based.
That's why I kind of poo poo and don't get. I know it again. You're talking for the health of the plant, different story. But when the people get in this whole world of organic, it's technically carbon.
Yeah,
really what organic really is.
Yeah. So.
But I think Ken really said what people really think it's the word naturally sourced. I think it's probably what most people are thinking.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, most people have no idea what the definition of organic is, so they kind of
But I think the
mind.
theme most people think it's like a natural sourced product.
Right. All they realize is that organic just means it costs more in the grocery store.
Yeah.
and it doesn't, and it may not look as nice as the other ones.
Yeah, no,
Guys,
I just had to make a joke because again.
Yeah, look, something that people find interesting.
You're upsetting the guest.
No, I know, like
not at all.
I think it's educational for people, just because some people may poo-poo products for the wrong reasons, and even Ken's, like he said, they are sort of a biosynthetic organic as well, right? And he's got combination products. I would never don't shit on him because it's not pure fish shit.
Yeah, yeah. So here's the thing, right? With organic, the other thing too is a lot of consumers will go to the label and they'll look for some form of organic certification. Okay. Now this is where I can actually get a little bit bitchy and just sort of say this organic certification stuff is the biggest cash grab load of horseshit ever. Okay. So as a manufacturer, we actually have over the years manufactured for a number of our competitors. Okay, we've been a contract manufacturer. So FloraMax is our line. Okay, but we've done other people's stuff. We've designed other people's stuff, and we've even pursued on behalf of other people organic certification. Okay, the organic certification thing. If people look into that process, it's just because it says organic on the label, it's really. So one of the rules here in Australia is that
it's Canadian beef doesn't mean it's 100%.
That's the name of the company, 100% Canadian beef.
Yeah. So, but I was going to say that here in Australia, the organic certification, you can have a product certified organic if there is no naturally occurring element that performs the same function. Okay. Huh. So think about that. That means that you can nothing. There is no organic substitute for I don't know, like maybe magnesium sulfate or something like that. Like whatever it is. So if there's no naturally occurring or organic kind of product that does what you need, you can get your product. You can say, well, there is no substitute where I can put in for what my product does. So that means, and you can get your product organically certified. There are products that we have organically certified that are.
But you have to get certified in each country that you want to sell in, though, don't you?
Yeah. So this is the thing. People ask us, why aren't we in North America? In Canada, is it the OMRI listing? OMRI? Is that the listing that
or EcoCert?
Yeah. Okay. So each one of these, so we do a little exercise. I think for us to do a product in every market we sell would cost around $250,000 per product US to get organically certified in every market we sell. Okay. That's to get a label. Now, here's the thing with the organic certification. There's also no enforcement. Okay, so the thing is, it's like, the thing with the certificate, people haven't actually tested the product. You submit your data on these products, and then you basically pay your money, and you get your certification.
And that's it.
So and no one's going and checking products on shelves. Like none of these certified bodies have any form of enforcement. So the thing is, you sort of think and just go, well, as a company, am I really going to invest in this, or am I just going to do what I do? So the thing is, we know, like, our system maintenance, our Organobud are 100% organic.
Are you allowed to use these products at Churro? What?
What's that?
The FloraMax.
FloraMax?
Yeah.
As long as they're CFIA, and I'll say it. Ken won't, just because he's a nice guy and under NDA. But no, Ken was at Churro. I'll just put it that way.
Okay, no, well, that's why I'm asking. I don't know the rules, and you're Churro, so
no, it has to be Health Canada, CFIA approved, all that stuff.
Okay.
But no, let's just say Churro has met Ken.
Oh, no doubt. Right. Yeah.
No, I don't want to say yes or no because we really shouldn't say, but
so the thing is, growers in the legal markets like Churro are, and many others are also very so CFI. They have to comply with CFIA regulations, right? And that's good for consumers, because when people they invest in these businesses are big businesses and stuff, and the risk, you're providing products that people are using for medical or health reasons as well. Okay, it's like it's got a bare minimum meet like kind of food safety standards, but really as a medicine there should be a higher level of kind of vigilance. What's really interesting, I think, about the industry is that the fact that people can, on a smaller scale, cultivate their own medicine at home. If they can sort of figure out and sort of take that natural approach to things. Yeah, it's an amazing plan.
I will give a little tidbit for Churro. Churro Cannabis follows FloraMax. How about that on Instagram?
Does FloraMax follow Churro Cannabis on Instagram?
I have no idea, to be honest.
Oh, here now you're gonna go look.
They will now.
Yeah, I'm sure somebody's getting on it right away.
No, but
along with the NHL or Dua Lipa, we follow all of those things.
No, Churro, like I say, I don't think the growers would really appreciate you telling exactly what our people are using, but no, like we if good products like FloraMax, we're not gonna poo-poo it.
Shy away from it. Well, I mean, like with all the bad press that growers in Canada have gotten since it's happened, the legalization shit. I mean, we've there's been a lot of lying. There's been some false walls. There's been stuff hidden in the fucking roof or in the ceiling. I mean, it's nice that you're allowed to use products that your normal everyday guy down the road is using, right? It just makes make it easier. It makes it easier.
That's theoretically possible. I don't think Lenny can confirm nor deny that.
No, I'm not, and I'm not asking him to. What I'm getting at is it's nice to know that it's not just the crap that we're hearing about in the news that's being used. Is what I'm getting at. Because there's a lot of bad crap.
Actually, here's a good analogy. I was going to ask Ken this because he and Mary Jane sort of led to this earlier. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. That is probably a lot of the mentalities of people Ken runs into in his job and meeting, like especially commercial growers, right? For example, Churro Cannabis, if we're going to try something new, it's going to be R&D on a very small scale.
Yeah.
You just don't take thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars of product. Oh, let's just change that tomorrow.
Without knowing what it does.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to. There's a lot of R&D for any little change of anything. So for any LP to switch a nutrient or add something, I would expect it 6 months minimum to a year before they decide if they're going to do it or not.
I would think that there's also a lot of never mind. Go ahead, Ken. You were about to say something.
The business risk of adopting a change. So the thing is, even a large scale, yeah, definitely. But even smaller growers, there are people who sort of 4 plants at home. Okay, so that's 12 weeks, 12 to 15 weeks or whatever, the time and stuff like that. So, sometimes when a grower, people were sort of influential growers or testers and they're willing to give our line a try, the thing is, we consider ourselves honestly a little bit privileged because there's an opportunity cost to them trying something they've never heard of. Okay.
Well,
so
and if it doesn't work, you
yeah.
don't learn things unless you try it, right?
Right, and that's why people like me are always trying new products, so we can tell other people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you also try it on a small scale. Like it's just a good tip for anybody, right? Don't do all your entire crop on the change.
Look, some of the things that I contend with, people will come back and they'll say, "Yeah, I did a grow, and yeah, it was amazing." Okay, and then they'll say, "It was the first time. Yeah, the first time I've switched from 600 to 1,000-watt lights, and I used your nutrient." It's kind of okay. It's great.
At a time, right?
Oh yeah, it was definitely the nutrient. There's there's got to be a method to it, right? So the thing is, people say, they'll say something like, "Oh yeah, it was the first time I tried this as well." You're changing too many roads. You don't know, but the thing is, at the end of the day, though, you want people like for us, the other thing is like at the end of it, the way that I sort of qualify is it, did you have a good grow? Like, did it produce good quality product in decent quantity in the end? And then one thing that we've always focused on with our line is actually the simplicity, because there has been a move. I think, there was this mad scientist kind of chemistry class kind of approach to hydroponics in the 90s. And you had like lots and lots of bottles. And Mary Jane, I see her smiling there because I know that she she recognizes the benefits of using a one part because
I honestly like a little chemist. You feel like a little chemist in the garden. That's why I was like, yeah.
And a lot of them also had things like you've got to mix it for 15 minutes and then let it sit, then add the next one and mix it for however long.
That's
great. I just want to know how much to put in and when. That's all I need to know.
Yeah. So that's it. So there's this thing about, disruptive innovation, which is basically good enough already exists. Okay. People could cultivate a super dank plant in the 90s. Okay. Could they do it easily? Maybe not.
Now they could.
So, yeah. So the thing is, but things have gotten better, right? So this is the thing. That's why everyone uses an iPhone, because it does so many. It's simple. The interface is easy and all the rest of it. Is it better? Well,
sorry, Ken. I hate phone.
Yeah. Okay. Well, sorry. I was just going to say that for a long time there, though, and actually, even is still now, the technology, I think in like other companies' phones, like the processors and everything, they're like way better, way ahead, way higher performing and all the rest of that. But what brings people to Apple, love it or hate it, is the interface is really easy to use. So
Apple
and the price. I mean, I like my Apple. I've always had a Mac sitting in front of me. I have a Mac and I have a PC sitting in front of me. I just don't use iPhone anymore.
I know Marcel's gonna kick in here.
I'm waiting, Marcel.
Yeah, he doesn't like Apple.
I was waiting for you to say fucking Mac sucks.
Yeah, well,
I don't have to bash Apple products. I mean, they just turn on and bash themselves.
No, you know what? I've had to use both Apple and like Samsung or Android, because I use a Samsung for my phone and I've used it for, oh my God, ever since I had the S3. I think it was the Galaxy S3. Now this is the S11. So I've been like Galaxy my whole life, and I've tried to switch to an iPhone because my phone broke and my sister gave me her old iPhone and I couldn't figure out how to use it.
A lot of people have that issue, especially with the Mac itself. It's so user friendly. It's so user friendly that a lot of people that don't know Mac can't.
Yeah, it's taken me a little while, because even just from Windows, just closing down a box, when you look to close down a box you go to the top right-hand corner, but on a Mac, you have to go to the top left-hand corner.
Now here's the
thing, it is simple.
Though.
It's colored. It's red, yellow, green. Like, it's easy.
You can do the same thing with both Mac and PC. You can set up your desktop so that it looks like what you expect it to look like, i.e. if you want to make it look like a PC but still be a Mac, you just change the theme. You can do things like that, and it helps.
I just
people.
figured out how to use it. I'm not
Well,
going
there
to
you go.
change it.
I mean, I have my mom's MacBook AirBook that I use all the time sitting in front of me, and I love it because it's got it's really good for music stuff. It's got GarageBand and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, I love iMovie. I absolutely
I've been
love
trying to
iMovie.
learn iMovie because I want to try and do some new videos for this thing.
Yeah, okay, this all sucks.
Yeah, that's what we use for our
Instead of the
editing.
tech talk, sorry, I maybe
There's no I in Marcel.
Yeah. I Marcel.
But there is in bullshit.
Yeah.
Anyways, yes, sorry.
I was going to say maybe the Apple thing is actually a bad example of disruptive innovation. I thought of a better one.
It disrupted
It
the whole
was though when it came out. It was the innovator.
Yeah, so Nintendo versus PlayStation. Nintendo Wii. So the Wii's.
Yeah, I like the Wii.
The white controller. It's only got 4 buttons on it. Yep. The graphics suck. The music sucks. The games suck. Okay, but why did Nintendo Wii outsell PlayStations?
Because people like to get tennis elbow.
Because
it was different.
Well, what happens is with a PlayStation with like 15 buttons and complex games, is the music better? Yes. Gameplay better? Everything's better. But in order to learn those games, like the market, it's pretty much 10 to 25-year-olds have the time and dexterity to learn those games and actually get good at them. But why does Nintendo always outsell it? The Wii always outsell it every year? Because the Wii, that's that interface with only 4 buttons and you swing your arm. Like, my 2-year-old daughter was playing with my father when he was 60. Yeah, we're bowling.
Tennis all the time with people around the world, literally doing the same movements, or golf or whatever, racing. Yeah, and it's simple. So you turn it on and it works.
So it was more accessible, right? So that's that whole thing with disruptive. So actually, that was actually one of our kind of design directions with FloraMax was the line had to be disruptive because we're trying to. So there are things like pH. A lot of pH is critical to cultivation. A lot of growers don't want to know about it. A lot of people don't own a pH meter. The ones that do, only half of them actually use it, and then only half of them actually even calibrate their pens once in a while. That kind of thing. So, but knowing how critical pH is, with FloraMax, we actually built in pH control into the line. So actually, it is actually possible for someone to grow without ever having to manage pH. Darcy, you may actually have some insight there.
Yeah, actually, as far as pH goes with FloraMax, it's like Ken said, it's definitely user friendly. I mix my water because my water comes out of my tap in the wintertime, it comes out at between 7.8 and 8.1 with a pH. So if you were to feed that to your plants, you're going to get lockouts like crazy.
Deficiencies, yellow leaves.
Like crazy.
Yeah.
So the good thing with that FloraMax is when you pour it in, it'll lower that water right down to anywhere between. I've seen it as low as 5.8, and I've seen it as high as 6.3, 6.4. So that's perfect.
So from a plant biology standpoint, the key number is 6.5. Okay, so anything above 6.5, iron is the first thing to start locking out there. So we typically see iron deficiencies where plants are fed water or root zone pH is higher than 6.5. Okay, so that's actually, with what Darcy's describing is in our base nutrient, we put in a pH buffering technology. It's actually a water conditioning technology that will drop the pH. So the benefit, Mary Jane, for someone like yourself is that I don't know if do you check pH, Mary Jane, when you grow?
It's funny because as you were talking about people who have pH meters or pH pens and don't use them,
she went, "Oh yeah, I have one in the cupboard."
Yeah, I have one. I took it to the hydroponics store. They showed me how to use it. They made sure that the solution was in it. I bought the right solution, and it's still in the bag with the ppm.
It's kind of like having type 2 diabetes and not using your meter. It's the same thing.
Guess what, MJ? I bet you if you were to go check that, I bet you that there'd be very little water left in that.
Oh yeah, it was completely dry when I took it to the hydroponics store. They're like, "How is this thing's even working?" Like,
yeah, that's not good.
That's not.
Yeah,
good.
that's what they said. But I have extremely good luck, and it's still working. I mean, I think I don't use it.
Okay, so we got about 10 minutes left. So we should let Ken tell everybody where they can get a hold of him. And you have stores in Canada?
Yeah, where
and
can
US?
you get FloraMax? Like if you don't know a guy.
Sorry?
Can we go? Can we
If you
go
don't know a
online?
guy,
Oh,
can you purchase it online? Is there stores set up in Canada?
Yeah,
selling
definitely.
products?
So the way to check, so we actually launched FloraMax in Canada, I think it would have been maybe August officially last year. So we haven't been quite going a year, but there are a number of shops across the country now carrying us. The best way to find that is on our webpage, on our website, www.floramax.com. There's a dealer page. Go to Canada, and then you'll see all the fine Canadian retailers that support us, and we try to support them as well. So, and that list is growing literally weekly because there's, so for a lot of listeners, most shops will not take on a line unless they actually test it first.
Yeah.
So, which is that's fine. That's good business practice. We have nothing to hide. We're happy for people to do that. So we've got sort of shops I think in almost every province now that are carrying us. So that testing process, there's a number of people that sort of started sort of October to December, and then they're just sort of getting things lined up now and stuff. So but there are I know a couple GrowDaddy in Prince Edward Island. They sell online across the country. There's Green Island Joe's on Vancouver on the other coast. I don't know I can name, but there's dealers. There's dealers all over, and that list is growing. So they are able to get it. Mary Jane, I was going to say.
Also, they have them in for the U.S., Australia, United Kingdom, and New Zealand. So if you're listening from any of those, you can still get FloraMax products there.
Yeah, and Mary Jane, I was going to say that we'll connect after the call here on Facebook or something like that and stuff, and I can get you some samples. And Al, I think I might owe you some. Did you actually get a grow going?
I did. I ended up with a couple pounds for my first grow last year.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Don't know what's happening yet this year. I'll know in a few.
Okay.
weeks.
Well, look, certainly you guys there get a hold of me and stuff, and I can get you some to try.
Sure.
That kind of thing. But Mary Jane, you may see some benefit right away because we actually do make a 1-part base as well.
Okay.
Veg one, Mary Jane.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the one you were talking about before, Sarcy.
That's the one I compared with the Mantis last year.
Okay.
So
I tried the Mantis because once again, 1 part, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're a fan of 1-parts, we do one there, but ours will be different in terms of that. We'll have that pH thing in there. So I'd actually, I think you would definitely see benefit from that if you're not using a pH meter.
Yeah, so, I definitely need that.
Yeah.
But we're gonna have Ken. We're gonna have Ken on again soon.
Well, before we let Ken go, I have a really, really important question because technically it's tomorrow where you are, right?
Yeah. So you want to know what's going to happen tomorrow?
No, I want to know what the lottery numbers are for tonight.
No, I want to know because technically it's the day of the Global Marijuana March around the world, right?
It's Saturday there right now, Saturday morning.
It's the first Saturday in May. So I'm just wondering, like, is there like
the 6th is generally worldwide, I believe. The 6th.
Well, tomorrow it'll be here.
Yes.
And I did actually want to touch. See, this is my way of like sneaking this in, right? Because I want to make sure that I mention that tomorrow at Queen's Park from high noon to 4:20, you can find the Doobie.
That's Toronto.
Yes, in Toronto. You're going to be able to find me. Obviously, this event is happening all over the world. There are different locations where you can go and show your support for global legalization, not just, your own country. But I will be doing something special tomorrow. If you find me and you say the magic words, I will give you a chance to win tickets to Lift, which is coming up next week. Oh, and before I forget, the magic words are newbie, doobie, do.
And I won't be here next Friday because I'm going to be at Lift.
Nah, you'll be with me.
I'm going to be able. Yes, you'll be there too.
I will. We're partying Friday night. We're going
maybe
to
you guys should come on
arcade.
together Friday night.
Oh fuck! I got some plans.
Okay, Saturday then.
Yeah, we're
I'll
definitely
probably
going
be
to
down.
fucking arcade.
Oh wait, I
I'll
forgot
probably
Saturday
be around on
after
Saturday or
party.
Sunday. I'm not going to the thing this weekend because I'm going to go cut my lawn for the first time this year.
Oh, Leafy Things is going to be there tomorrow.
Oh.
They're going to be handing
So-
out suckers and swag and.
So Mary Jane, just to
Yes.
recap, if I can get there for tomorrow, so if
Yes.
I actually go back in time, then it's newbie doobie doo, right?
Yes, and if you go back
Hello.
in time, then you're my new favorite person because like that's never been done.
I'm pretty sure Michael J. Fox.
That we know of.
Hey, I'm gonna give a quick shout out to our buddy Jack Lloyd.
Fuck was that?
I don't know.
Love Jack. Why are we shouting out to Jack this time?
Yeah.
Because Jack and his buddy Kirk Tusaw are going to do some ass kicking
Again.
in
Yeah,
Manitoba.
what?
So
Yes, the rights to
Manitoba
grow.
was one of the provinces that refused rights for homegrown, and
Yes.
they're now being taken to task. And
Good.
Jack and Kirk are the ones that are leading that charge.
There you go.
Good.
Yeah.
It's about time. It's been what since 2018.
Well,
Yeah,
since
we gotta
legalization.
we got to boost those Manitoba FloraMax sales. Come on.
But there's a distributor in Manitoba for selling
Oh,
FloraMax
I'm
products.
I'm just making fun of the government.
Yeah.
Who's
There can be a lot more.
Who's tapping?
Me. What?
You've been
Lenny's
doing it
getting
all night, dude.
restless.
You've
Are
been
you
doing it all
excited?
night.
What's up?
Were you excited?
No, I don't know. I
It's
just
like, wait.
Yeah, okay. Oh, Ken, it's a blast having you on, buddy.
Yeah, it's always
Hey, thanks very
a
much.
good,
Let's do this
good
again
listen there,
sometime.
buddy. Yeah.
Very, very educational.
We'll see you in a year again.
No,
Oh,
we'll have him on again in August.
in bud time.
Ooh, is that
In
Harvest Fest
August
time?
at
From Harvest
Fest.
Fest?
Yes.
Oh,
We
Harvest
were
Fest.
talking about going live from Harvest Fest.
Yes, we got to figure that out.
We've tried to do it before. So we're going to try and do it again. If Al can't make it down,
Or we'll be
then-
live anyways. It won't matter
then we'll
if I'm
use
there
my
or not.
phone.
Yeah,
Right.
we'll figure it out.
And then we'll go live from Harvest Fest. Well, we're all partying and Al's sitting at home because he didn't want to drive down. But he might have plants
you
in the
not
ground
just
too,
see-
so he might have to stay home and take care of his plants.
Yeah. Listen, I just saw an article that says we're going up again in the gas prices, and it's supposed to be up in the $2 range by the time the summer comes. So yeah, nobody might be going anywhere.
That just
Yeah.
sounds to me like we need to get another sponsor for the event.
There you go.
Yeah. Get a sponsor for the event. Pay Al's way to Harvest Fest.
There you go.
Yeah, if you want us to cover the event, right?
I'll start a 420 GoFundMe for
Go
Harvest
fund me.
Fest.
Yeah. No, don't.
Yeah.
I like it.
Please.
Oh yeah, but
Lenny,
now
Lenny,
you-
Lenny,
I'm kidding.
Lenny, are you going to be at Harvest Fest?
I'll be down part of the day for sure.
He'll be
Okay.
around.
I'm not
He's a
staying.
busy
I'll
man.
tell you right
He's a
now, I'm
busy
not
man.
staying overnight.
Look, he likes. He's a busy
That's
guy.
how I
He's
feel
busy
too.
giving people drugs. Just leave him alone. Just let him.
No,
do
no,
his thing.
I don't fucking camp.
I want to
Ah,
I-
that's right, yeah.
I'm doing Thursday to Sunday. And,
I'm 4.5-star hotel, guys.
Can you
and I'll
can you
do
guys find a spot
6
with like
a.m.
cabins?
till 1 a.m. Pardon?
There's
You guys,
cabins
can you
there.
find a spot with cabins?
There's some there.
So there's like
You have. You
okay,
better be
where are
quick.
the
You
bathrooms?
better reserve them. Pardon?
Where are the bathrooms? In the cabin?
Yeah.
Oh, we moved up.
So
Well, the cabins are more like motorhomes, trailers, that type of thing that have been redone
that's
over
okay.
with
You
permanent
say
decks.
cabin, I think like wood with like
No.
bunk beds.
No, these are trailers and things with
it's
decks
a
built
trailer
onto them.
park, is what it is. A campground.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
It's an actual
not like- it's
campground.
not
I guess
like
I
where we
better
were-
send Debbie a message.
It's not like where we were
There's-
last time, Mary Jane, where it was in the bush. I mean, it's in the bush.
That
but
was literally just a field, and you're like, "Here's your
Yeah.
spot."
Yeah. No,
I
this
couldn't
one
stay
is
there. It was so hot. I needed a fan.
but it has washrooms, it has showers.
Okay, cool.
Nice.
So it has everything. And it'll have
So,
Ken that we're
We're
hoping.
gonna let Ken go because it's like really early and then
It's
now he
11.
needs breakfast. He
Oh,
needs
look how
breakfast now.
beautiful it is.
Yeah.
Go enjoy your day,
I'm gonna
Ken.
leave
it's
you
9
guys.
o'clock
I'm
in the
gonna leave
morning.
you guys. I'm gonna
Oh,
leave
it's
you guys
11
a
over
view.
there now. Isn't
Go,
it?
look
go
at the
for,
feed.
Saturday
go for a swim, Ken.
Saturday
Go on.
morning. That's what Saturday morning looks like. So
Strip it down
Anyway.
and go, buddy. Come on.
Enjoy tomorrow.
Nice winter there, Ken.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
we will be back. I'm looking for my stuff here that I gotta do. We didn't do the second segment though, Darcy. It's all your fault because Darcy didn't do his gross segment. But it was
That's
one
all
big
right.
gross
You'll
segment.
have to
It
do
was
an
a
extra
gross
long
segment.
one next
It was
week
a long
because
I'm gonna start tapping out.
we won't be here.
I'm gonna do both. And hey Len, hey Lenny.
Yeah.
Hey, this is Cheech. This is Chong. And you're listening to Lifestyle.
Are you looking for non-stop, continuous cannabis and psychedelic programming? If you are, then turn your browsers to 420radio.ca or paceradio.net, where you will find the 420 Pace ReRolled Saturday. Everything gets started at 8 a.m. Eastern Saturday morning.
Hi, I'm Timmy.
And I'm Mary Jane. He's the newbie.
She's the doobie, and this is the show
where we
tote
cannabis.
Talk.
From both sides.
Is that even possible?
Stay tuned. We'll be back